Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity.
And this week, because she's our special guest that hasn't been here in how long, Nikki?
It's been weeks.
So you're going to start us off. What is this whole podcast about? I don't even know.
Is it about anything?
It's like Seinfeld. It's a podcast about nothing.
Yeah, that's right. It's Mr. Curiosity. Come on.
We answer any kind of question.
Keep the questions coming. brownbag@wnep.com. Sean, as you know, Mr. Can't call him webmaster, Mindy. What is it?
Web guru.
No.
Aw.
Digital director.
That seems too formal.
He's here, Nikki's here, Mindy's here, and I'm here. Where's our boy, John Meyer?
Well, we don't know. He doesn't contact us anymore.
Yeah, he went to Florida, and then he doesn't send texts or nothing.
He's like at SeaWorld.
Yeah, I'm big shot with my family and
Swimming with the dolphins.
yeah,
Swimming
and
with the
swim
dolphins.
with the dolphins. But again, we're answering your questions. Keep them coming. Brown bag, one word, brown bag at wnep.com, because this podcast is only as good as the questions, right?
What about the answers,
Absolutely.
though?
Without you, the people, we'd be here.
Yeah, I would say the answers are the best part.
The answers make a difference.
Let's not sell ourselves short there, Joe.
Yeah,
Well, let's
true.
start out with this. Since most of us here are married, Mindy started out with a question that, what do your boyfriends
Oh, yeah.
or your kids' boyfriends, girlfriends,
girlfriends.
or even if they get married, what do they call you?
It's
This was
hard.
an interesting thing. Sean, you're not there yet. Mindy's kids are
Oh,
teen.
Sean's almost there. How old is your oldest?
10.
No, it's not there yet.
Okay, maybe 5 or 6 years. Okay.
Because my in-laws, I still don't call them by their first name. I have nicknames for them. I call my father-in-law Big Daddy, and I call my mother-in-law Granny, because she's the granny to my
Granny.
kids.
I was wondering if you called her Big Mama.
No,
Okay.
but the point is, I don't know. I felt weird calling them by their first names. I don't know why. Why
Yeah,
is that?
sometimes I do call my in-laws grandma and grandpa. Like
Yeah,
if
okay,
it's in
yeah.
the context of doing something like that. But otherwise I call them by their first name.
But here's the point. Mindy and I agree. We don't call our in-laws mom and dad. And I don't
Yeah.
know. We don't
What
know.
about you, Sean?
And I think it may be the case with you too. It sounds like you kind of take on like whatever the kids, like when you have kids and
I
whatever
say-
they call them.
Yeah.
And then that's
but what
you
if you
call
don't
them.
have kids? Would you call your in-laws mom and dad?
Not mom and dad. I would just call them by their first name.
Yeah. But sometimes that's weird.
Or if they had a nickname.
Like Mimi or Bampa
Big Daddy.
or Big Daddy.
Big Daddy's my father-in-law.
Daddy.
Big Daddy. And Nikki, do you call your boyfriend? You just call them your boyfriend's parents
yeah.
call them their first name, right?
I call them by their first names.
Yeah.
They're fine with that. That's what they told me to call them.
Yeah, because if you say Mister, that's weird.
It is
Right.
weird. It just seems so formal.
And
at
if you
this
say
point.
Dad,
Yeah.
that's presumptuous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might
Maybe
be
you
weird.
should start doing that. You'll get an
see what
engagement. I don't
happens.
know. See what happens.
They'd probably like it. Yeah.
They'd be like, let's go.
Maybe I will. I'll test the theory.
Test it out. All right, who's going to go first? I think Sean, because he hasn't been here in so long. He's
I
gotta go
know,
first.
Sean. It's
Hold
been a
on, I have to
while.
switch the camera here.
Oh, yeah. He's doing double duty, switching cameras. And
Wow.
Sean hasn't been here in months. Christmas?
Christmas.
I've been in the room.
Yeah,
I just
you're
haven't
always
been
like, yeah.
on
But I
camera.
mean, on camera, answering questions.
It's been a few episodes.
And
Yeah.
If I remember how to read.
people ask me. You can only read binary
It's
code.
a nice and short one.
So short.
I don't know that this is necessary, but
Perfect. When you're uncomfortable, we're uncomfortable.
this is from Mike in Hanover, which I feel like Mike from
Mike
Hanover
is a regular
kinda,
dude. Yeah.
I think President Trump should pardon Joe and Mindy for all the times they've ever picked on each other.
Oh.
Wow, maybe he would do that.
Well, this brings up a good subject. The whole pardoning thing is new to me. I mean, I knew that there was a pardoning thing, but I didn't know are there limits to this power? Do you guys know? And I'm not being political here.
I don't
I'm
think
not being
so. I
pro-
think
So
they
you
can
can-
pardon anybody
yeah.
they want.
They can. That seems too much power,
It does seem weird,
doesn't
doesn't
it?
it?
It seems like when I started hearing of all these pardons, I'm like, what? Could he have pardoned either Biden or Trump? Could he have pardoned like Jeffrey Dahmer if he was still alive?
I
Possibly.
guess.
There's
Might-
gotta be a
Might be a
limit to
bad move politically.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. You have to
intend
do
this-
something that's going to make the people happy.
Right, but
Right.
it just seems excessive.
Maybe Trump should pardon the Menendez brothers. Because there's that whole thing with the DA out in California saying he's not going to do it, and everybody wants them out.
I want to know the limitations. What if every day he just got a list of pardoning? He's pardoning everybody.
Yeah, I think Trump pardoned a lot of people before.
Right.
I feel like it's usually reserved for right at the end of like. It seems like
It
when
seems
presidents
right.
are leaving office,
Leaving
is
or
when
Yeah.
they,
first
like,
starting, I know.
drop a bunch
Yeah.
of pardons, and then like that's like their final farewell. I don't know if it's become a ceremonial thing, like
I know.
that.
Is it just for big things or small things too? Like if John Mayer gets a speeding ticket, could he get pardoned for that?
It's a
Yeah.
good question.
Well, I think if you could pardon, speeding tickets,
I don't
or
know.
does the state police say, hey, no, listen.
I'm just trying to think
Yeah.
of a person that has been pardoned recently that has done anything like really, really heinous, and I don't really think so. You know, like, I
But
don't
he
think, like,
probably
a
could. It seems
Dahmer. I guess he
undemocratic is
could.
what I'm saying.
Right. But Trump pardoned the former governor of Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything violent. It was just more
Right.
of,
No, but
Maybe they. I
weird.
don't know.
Could we? But you're right. What about on a small scale? Could he pardon the guy in Fell Township who didn't pay his garbage tax that month?
Does it have to be a
Probably could.
federal? Do they have to be committed at like a federal crime?
that's a good question. I
Can
don't
they
know.
only pardon people who
Well, you know,
are guilty of a federal crime?
that's what I'm wondering, because you know what happened to me when I was 16? I think I told you guys this before. I was associated with shoplifting of an Asia album at Hess's department store.
And you want to be pardoned for that?
I want that thing purged from my record. I really didn't do it.
But
I
you
just
didn't
helped.
get charged and you didn't
I know, but I
punished.
still feel like it's one of the only things I did that was really bad, and I don't want that on my record anymore.
Well, why didn't you go to confession?
I did. I probably did at the time. I was
Then it should be purged.
Get purge,
Yes.
please, Trump. Purge me from
So-
my. It's a good album, though, Asia. You guys like
Yeah.
the first album? Or no?
I don't think it's worth shoplifting, but yeah.
Heat of the moment. Heat.
Oh, that
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah. All right,
The-
took that one. All right, he's got
The
the,
very
answer.
brief, the
that
very
one.
brief breakdown of the pardon.
Oh,
power
here we
is
go. All right.
The president's power to grant pardons is limited to federal offenses.
Ooh, so much for my shoplifting.
And cannot be used in cases of impeachment, nor can it be used to obstruct justice or undermine other parts of the Constitution. So there are limits. I mean, it gets more. It's way more in depth than
Interesting.
that. But
Yeah,
no
so
self-pardons.
If John Mayer got a speeding ticket, he's out of luck.
He's
isn't
out
that
of luck.
Isn't that nuts? So he can't do anything with the little things.
And you're still on the hook.
And I'm still a shoplifter.
Oh, man. It's really sad that you have to take that to your grave.
I know. You laugh, but that
Now,
is-
did you drive the album across state lines? Because then I think that becomes
That would be a
federal.
federal crime.
That becomes federal.
I did not. It went from Hess's department store to outside of Hess's department store. And we were taken back in Hess's department store. My question is, I absolutely love the morning crew. Keep up the amazing work you do and make it a great day to be alive. My question is, why does a clock always blink 12 when it first gets plugged in? That's Tanya Jackson from Nanacoke. Why do they pick 12? Because it's the start of a new day? Or
I have
maybe
a
it's 12
theory.
noon? Oh, Sean has a
Oh,
theory.
Sean has a theory.
It's because it's right in the middle of like
Anytime it
the
is.
day. So if it's like earlier than noon, you're going back to 1 or 11, 10, 9, or you can go ahead 1, 2, 3. You're closer to
You
more
think it's a nice
numbers that way.
median for any resetting you want to do?
Because we're like 11, and you had to go to. Well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, we're engineers now. We just invented the first appliance with a digital clock. What would you say? Okay, when you plug it in,
I don't know.
I'd go with
I
like
would think it'd
3
be
in the
like-
afternoon.
or I would think it would be like 1.
1.
Because
One, 'cause it's
maybe
1.
noon is the start of the day. I
Or maybe
guess, 'cause
noon is
midnight would be like
considered-
midnight.
Zero is
Right.
midnight in military time.
Right. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why.
Because it never
That's
says 12
technically-
a.m. or p.m. It's just 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking noon, but
I-
maybe the
Yeah, maybe
intention it's midnight. Yeah.
It's the most convenient, and it's the start of a new day. Okay, I think that's your answer,
I hope it turns out that it's just completely
Miss Jackson.
random.
It's your no, it's definitely not random.
There's some number just happened to be noon, and like
Wait.
fine.
Yes,
We'll
a
just stick
random
with it.
number generator. That should be what it is. And you plug it in, and it's 2:43. No,
But it never is though. It's
No.
always
Well, we should go random.
12.
let's
Also, when's
randomize.
the last time
Yeah.
you bought a digital clock you needed to plug in? Like,
All the
Can I
appliances.
And reset.
Yes, it's your turn to pick.
All right.
How about you plug it in and it shows you 12 lottery numbers instead?
Ooh, that would be nice.
Randomized.
Yeah.
Oh, unless they were real though.
Mindy's up. See,
Let's
Mindy,
see.
if you were my mother-in-law, Mindy's a tough name because Mindy's cutesy. I wouldn't say,
You could call me Mindy if
"Hi,
I
I'm
was your
here to date
mother-in-law.
your daughter, Mindy." You'd be Mrs. Ramsey to me. You have the distinction. Or you'd be Big Mama. All right, she's not laughing at my jokes. She's laughing at the question. What is it?
No, and I mean, I think before I read it, you have to agree that it's true.
Here we go. This is scary. I'm threatened.
Hello, all. This is from Mark. I'm going to have to start wearing glasses in here. This is so bad. I can't read anything.
Old lady, Mindy.
Yes, that's the deal.
Mama.
Okay, Joe, I think it's great that you are paying off Mindy's Tesla with the podcast profits. So, yes, Mark, I agree. It's so kind, so generous. Isn't that nice?
That's it. That's a statement.
But that's all it says. Yep.
So now I wanted to ask you this.
Yes.
And again, we're getting political. We're walking on the edge here of where we should go. Is the Tesla thing bothering you a little bit now? I mean, because now it's become a thing. When you bought it, it wasn't a thing.
It
Now
wasn't.
Now it's
it's
a thing.
Now it's a big thing.
Do you
Yeah.
do you get remarks? Do you get
I
people?
haven't gotten any remarks. Maybe people are thinking it and they haven't said it out loud.
Right.
Yeah, because I bought it when it wasn't a thing. So
Yeah.
to me, it's a non-issue. But and plus, I just love the car so much. Well, like Henry Ford was a well-known anti-Semitic person.
You're right. And,
Yes.
And so many.
And people still buy Fords and they still love their Fords. So I can see why.
Oh yeah, definitely it's going to get washed out in time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
at the moment,
But at the moment, it is a little tough with people.
polarizing.
I think sometimes it's however you feel about it, it's separating the person from the thing, like
Yeah.
Ford separating him personally from the product.
If you look
know
at
what I mean?
anything
I
we
guess
buy, any stereo, any car, any garage door opener, any guy who builds homes, you're going to find dirt on every single
Everybody.
thing
Yeah.
you buy. There's going to be
And
a
also,
weirdo
people
in it.
who think it's so important to buy American, Tesla is the most American car there is.
She's selling, baby. She's selling.
right.
She's selling.
I mean, it's all built in America.
There's something to be said about everything. Every
Yeah,
company.
that's true. That's true.
The
You
only
can
reason
find
we
something
went to
bad.
the moon in 1969 is because of Werner von Braun, who was a Nazi. That we took from the Germans and brought him here with his rocket technology. We went to the moon because of a Nazi.
Because of a Nazi, yeah.
Wow.
True story.
So then, do we just say we don't like going to the moon?
I don't like Neil Armstrong anymore.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
He's
That's
associated with the lunar landing,
pretty much.
which is associated with a Nazi. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
How do you separate all these
yeah.
things? I don't know.
So it is a little bit hard, but thankfully people haven't been mean to me yet. Although I was targeted by a New York State trooper, but that's another story.
Oh, we better not get into that. Whoa, woo!
I wish I
Your
had it.
cell phone is an example.
Yeah.
Who does? What's that attract? Is it really made by child labor in parts of the world?
It could be. I don't know.
Who are those horrible people?
These are short questions
That's
today.
the way we like them.
Yes,
Nikki.
we do like them short.
We like them short.
Tom C. from Archibald wants to know, how come Kurt Aaron is never on a podcast?
This guy is relentless.
Oh my gosh,
We
how
answer
many
this one.
times has he asked this?
Folks, this is proof that the podcast, we don't preview these things. This question comes up every time. I don't know. We're going to get him eventually. All right? That's all
He's
I can
not
say.
here at the time we
He's
do the
not here.
podcast.
We're doing
He's
this.
not.
And because he works like from 11-ish until 6, 7-ish, this is asking him to come into work earlier, and no one wants to do that.
Right. That's
No
tough.
one wants to come in. It's at the end of our shift. It would be pre-beginning of his shift. If he asked me to come in an hour early to do a podcast, I say, Kurt, get lost.
That would be 3 o'clock in the
I
morning.
know. I'm like, no. Or to stay late.
To
Isn't
stay
that the
late.
worst?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, whenever you have to stay late for work, I'm like, no. So that's probably why. But
He's probably walking Ranger right now.
yeah, we'll get to people eventually. Stick around. We got an infinite amount. All right, not infinite, but we got time. He'll be here.
He'll be here.
Sean's up again, Mr. Digital Media Director. DMD is what he wants us to call him.
Oh.
Yeah, DMD.
We should call him Dungeon Master.
Dungeon Master.
Well, that's what I feel like
Master.
when you say webmaster. I feel like I need a robe, like 12-sided die.
That would be great.
Drive a Tesla. Look at the-
Okay, this is a bet. All right.
He
This
approves
is
it. Mindy.
from our buddy Travis.
Oh, good.
Travis, we
Okay.
still sprinkle Travis in. He's still here. He just
Hey, morning crew. When you're on vacation, would you rather stay in a hotel or an Airbnb?
Oh,
Slash
I know.
Verbo slash whatever.
Slash
other
Verbo,
option.
yeah. I know the answer to that question.
let's go in order. Sean's first. So
I mean, generally, stay in hotels, I think that just from a convenience standpoint, it just kind of, you know what you're getting and stuff, and especially with little kids. Although I love the idea of going somewhere and staying in like an Airbnb, like a really cool house or something somewhere.
Did
So
we
I'm not
have this
against it.
question before?
I don't
Because
know.
I thought maybe it's just in my head, my concerns. Okay, so hotels are corporate. Corporate policies, no one really owns it. It's just people working mindlessly for the hotel. But no one is going to do anything deviant at a corporate hotel, I feel. You go to an Airbnb.
Have you heard of Aaron Andrews?
I remember that, but that was rare.
That
That
was rare.
wasn't in a hotel
And that-
employee
I
doing
always
it
feel-
either.
No, but it was at a hotel.
When I'm at an Airbnb,
And it was
I'm thinking
deviant.
there's some guy who has cameras hidden in the ceiling, and there's no like corporate overlord stopping this.
How
And
do you monitor it?
No, and then they cook breakfast for you. I don't want to talk to anyone.
No, they
No,
don't.
that's a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, that's a
I
bed and
know, but
breakfast.
They do that. So I've done a couple of Airbnbs, and they meet you at first. I don't want to do that.
No, they don't. A lot of times they don't.
In Denver,
usually
I met
it's,
the people, and that was like,
usually it's contactless entry.
that's what we want.
Yeah.
And I'm still afraid there's some weird stuff hidden.
Interesting.
Microphones.
Interesting.
You buy one of those like
Checkers,
RF,
electromagnetic.
RF search
Yeah.
things.
Yes.
I just feel like, Mindy, you can admit this. Who wouldn't want to see me naked? Come on. Look at the guy.
Did you say?
So-
Wait, did you say who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? Yeah, come on.
Wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Anyway, moving on.
No, we have to
So-
answer. Everybody has to answer. So
No,
I
I know.
I do not like Airbnbs.
So this is so funny. This is almost like the electric car, gas car thing. I am so against what you guys are saying. I love Airbnbs, love Verbos, choose them every time. That's almost all I do now, unless I'm just staying for
Because
one
you're
night.
cheap.
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're more expensive, sometimes they're cheaper. No, I love having separate rooms from the kids. We can have our privacy.
Okay.
Also, like especially when you have little kids, then like you feel like you have to shut off all the lights at 9 o'clock at night because in a hotel
It's
room.
like the commercial. I think it is an Airbnb commercial where it's
Oh,
like
yes.
Yeah.
your kid's bedtime shouldn't be your
Your
bedtime.
bedtime.
Because then
Yes.
you're sharing a hotel room. And I
Yes.
get that. And again,
And I
I'm not
still-
against Airbnbs. We just haven't done it yet.
And if
Yeah.
it's an extended stay, I see that for like a week.
Yeah.
But if you're just going one
No, I
night
went
or-
for a weekend to an Airbnb in Vermont. We were just going for the weekend. We stayed right on Lake Champlain. It was a nice
And you
little
still
cabin.
prefer that?
Oh, I way prefer that. Yeah, and then you have your own kitchen, you have your own space, and we had kayaks there. There was a fire pit.
I do
It
see the
was-
benefits.
It was so nice.
But
whereas I
now-
feel like in a hotel room, we're all just claustrophobic, scrunched together. And I'm not going to get 2 hotel rooms.
But I feel like your concerns are more like theoretical. Yes, it's possible that these things are happening, but it's not a guarantee every time you're, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'm saying
that-
the worst case scenario.
Yeah, but it's probably not going to happen. And if it does, who cares? Like you said,
You might be a porn
give 'em a
star in
show.
Japan.
Give them a show.
And
Who
not even
cares?
know.
I don't care. I don't care. Although I should be making money off that.
where's my check?
Yeah. Where's the money? No, but I
You're
have
on
to
the dark
say,
web.
I love Airbnbs, and also you read all the reviews. I actually just booked an Airbnb and a Vrbo for an upcoming vacation. I read all the reviews, so like you kind of know what you're getting into.
Oh, always, yeah.
Yeah.
Nikki's
So-
left. Come on, we
All
have you're going to be a tiebreaker here. No, it's
So I've
2
been
and 1.
getting more into Airbnbs lately. I
Oh.
was always really gung ho about hotels, but my boyfriend is really into Airbnbs. So we went on a trip in September and we did half and half hotels and Airbnbs. And the most memorable part of that trip was the Airbnbs.
Yeah.
'Cause-
The experience
yeah.
sometimes is really cool.
Yeah, that was enjoyable staying in the Airbnbs.
All right, you go into the Hilton, say, and you see the big industrial cleaners and the pillows and the comforters are all spinning around, high temperature mandates to sterilize
Yeah, it's going to be
everything.
cleaner, probably.
Everything is just, the Airbnb guy, he didn't even wash that pillowcase.
Yeah, probably.
He just said, nah.
See,
just-
that's where I do side with you there. I do
That's
side
the
with
kind
you.
of stuff
Yeah.
that freaks me
Joe
out.
brings all his own linens.
yes.
That
Immediately
freaks me out.
changes the bed
The
sheets.
sheets, yes.
Yeah,
Because
puts
you
them
don't
back on
know
when he's
how
done.
people are.
You don't. So that's another
But
thing that
back in
freaks
the
me
day,
out.
do you remember the whole like Dateline thing where they figured out all the hotel comforters were not washed?
I
remember that?
yeah.
They took UV lights.
I remember that.
the
But they
UV
do
light
the
stuff.
sheet under it, at least.
Yeah, but
they
now
don't do the-
but now I think they do
that
wash
changed
everything
everything, right?
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us the story of the,
pretty
what
gross.
was it, Aaron, what happened?
Erin Andrews. No, she's the sports person.
That was filmed in a hotel.
right in a hotel room. The guy got the room next to her, drilled a hole, put a
In
camera
a chain
in.
hotel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Isn't that nuts?
crazy. Yeah, so it can happen anywhere. But I just think Airbnbs are way more fun. That's my opinion.
Oh, yeah? Well, Airbnbs, I have a commercial. They don't wash pillowcases.
You're probably right.
BYO sheets, too.
BYO sheets. BYOS.
I think we're back to who now? I don't know.
You.
It's Oh, it's me. I'm sorry. Sean got that one. Airbnb.
That was a good one.
Airbnb
Travis, that was a
Mini.
good one. Yeah, I
was
love
solid,
it.
dude.
I've had some
Solid.
interesting experiences.
All right, Tanya from Nanacoke. Sean, get ready to look this up. Here we
This
go.
is your
He's
second
our-
Tanya from Nanacoke. Is it?
I don't know. Is it? Was the other?
I think so,
anyway.
yeah.
Here we go, girls. Maybe you have the answer. Why is a softball called a softball when it isn't soft at all?
I think it is a little bit soft.
It's softer
though.
than a baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is it?
It is, yeah. Definitely is.
I think so.
Because when
Are you offended by the size and softness?
um
Because it's
Not
almost
really.
like saying, "Oh, they're not as talented as us to
no,
play
it's- I mean-
hardball with this small ball. Let's give them something big and easy."
I'm not.
yeah, I
offended.
guess that's
You're not-
kind of a little
I don't.
It's insulting.
I don't know. I mean, there is
Different time. It was
there is
different
different-
times.
different times, yeah.
Different times.
I don't play softball, so
Yeah.
well, I used to when I was a kid.
Oh, you
but-
did?
Yeah, when I was a little kid. But I'm not offended. I don't.
Yeah.
Come on, bring out your feminism. All balls should be equal size.
Yeah.
Look,
I don't know.
Softballs do vary in size. I've learned since my daughters have started playing softball. Like
really?
youth softballs are a different size than like when you get older. So I mean, not drastically, but they're definitely are
but
different
I'm just
in
saying,
sizes.
let's make it easier for them to hit. It'll be big so they won't miss
The
it. I mean, are you
originals-
offended by this?
Original softballs were softer according to the internet.
Oh, okay.
Huh, interesting.
Because I was wondering if it was the opposite.
Which has changed. Early versions were a softer ball, but they're not.
Not
They're
anymore.
that soft anymore.
Let's take it in the other
That's
direction.
my daughter
Let's-
just took one in the ribs
Ooh.
the other
And
night
it
while we were
wasn't soft?
practicing in the yard. No, it wasn't.
Let's take it even deeper now. Let's have the ladies play Nerf ball anymore instead. Is that where you want to go? You can be
No,
what
no.
point of insult?
No, that would
No.
be offensive.
That would be
Yeah.
offensive.
Yeah.
But the bigger ball that doesn't.
Yeah.
Look at Mindy's
No.
thinking about it. She's a little offended.
I don't like catching the hard baseballs, even with a glove. I think they're.
See, no man ever said that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Or how about when you say to someone metaphorically, "I'm playing hardball," meaning you're getting tough.
Right. That's true.
So maybe
Softball questions are
Softball.
easy.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, don't some men play in softball leagues? Yeah.
Yeah.
when they get older and more frail.
Well, you know what? I think everybody should play softball because think about it. If you get hit with a baseball,
It's bigger,
like,
it's gonna hurt more.
The major leaguers, they're going to get hurt too. You know, right?
No, I think the baseball's gonna hurt more.
That's what I'm saying. The
yeah,
baseball,
because it's
they should
smaller.
get rid of baseballs and only use softballs for everybody.
Basketballs are the same size, aren't they? Male,
I think so.
female?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think-
actually,
No,
well, I don't
they're not.
know.
They're not. They're a little
They may
smaller.
not
It's
be.
actually smaller. A woman's basketball is smaller
Smaller.
than a men's basketball.
because their hands are
Because
smaller.
their
So it all,
hands are small.
it all
Yeah.
evens out.
Oh.
It
Yeah.
all evens out.
Yeah.
Because their hand isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
See the stuff that comes out here.
Are the nets
Small-
the same height?
Yes.
Are the hoops the same
I-
size?
10
are
feet,
they?
Yeah.
Okay.
The height's the same.
Really?
The ball size is different.
Okay. Interesting.
What about the girls' beach volleyball? Why did they make them stop wearing those clothes?
They don't wear bikinis anymore.
I don't think so. Because
But you know what is
I was
crazy?
watching the Olympics just for that, and then they didn't have them.
Just
and-
for that.
And I'm like,
Maybe
oh, they
not
changed
You
the
admitted
rules.
it, okay.
They changed the rules.
But the thing is, even like in high school, the girls, I think it's weird that the girls volleyball, they wear those skimpy little shorts. Have you seen what girls
No, I have
volleyball
not.
wears? Yeah, they wear
They're like
shorts. that-
spandex. They're like bike shorts almost.
But
they're a little shorter.
Way shorter. They're like short. There's no,
Unless they ride up, maybe.
Yeah,
I know
they're
they're not
almost like
long,
a-
long. They're not knee length.
They're like underwear.
no, they're like a bathing suit or underwear. Yeah, that's,
boy short underwear.
yeah. So why do girls volleyball players wear those?
I know.
I think
it's lingering old school nonsense.
yeah, that's weird. I don't
But then
think,
you flip it in the other
looks bad.
direction. Why so many thongs and bikinis on the beach? Why aren't the women saying, "I don't know about this. This is too much"?
Well, they want to get a nice tan.
Yeah.
They got to
It
get
seems
no
like there's-
tan
I
lines.
guess it's about sun exposure.
You don't want sun exposure though.
But you do.
Well, I know you don't, but
You
they
don't.
do.
You
But you
shouldn't
do.
want it, but you do want it.
So that's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know. That's not me, so I don't know.
I mean, I'm offended when I see a man walking around with Speedo,
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
and I'm offended when I see a beautiful woman walking around with a thong.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
you
like-
don't like thongs.
I'm like, cover up.
You're lying.
I'm not. I'm like, come on.
Just because your mother-in-law listens to the podcast.
Joe goes to the beach with like 50 like robes.
Yeah.
And he's just going around throwing them on people.
Ladies, put some clothes on. You're ruining my whole vacation.
Oh, my
Just like the
goodness.
guy over there in his thong
Ugh.
or Speedo or whatever it is.
Why is that the thing in Europe and Canada
I know.
and not the U.S.?
Yeah.
So
You know?
we were in Germany.
Here we go.
We were in Germany, and we were in like a beach town, which you don't think of in Germany, but it looked like the shore or like
Yeah.
Cape.
The
Cape
cold
May.
Baltic Sea.
And it was a topless beach, and we went down to the water. So we're like walking down the beach into the water, and like it's not so awkward like being at a topless beach, but you don't realize it wasn't awkward walking down to the water because everybody's facing the water.
Oh, when you're
you
coming
see
The
that.
walk back
You're
got
like,
real awkward because you're like,
gosh.
you want to watch where you're walking,
Walking.
so you're not like stepping on people, but you're also doing the thing where you're trying
Not to look.
Wait, who were you there with? You a family
My wife.
vacation?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the kids.
No, this was before kids.
Oh, wow. So that's in
So we
Germany.
went down. We're like, and I'm like, this wasn't so weird. And then going back, I'm like, yep, now it's very weird because just you're facing everybody.
Yeah, it is so strange. My sister and I were in Nice, in France,
Mm-hmm.
on the beach, and just like right next to us is a mom, topless, with her 13-year-old boy. And I'm like, to them it's not weird, but for
Right.
us, we're feeling awkward for the 13-year-old boy with his mom.
And it's really not weird, though.
But what's
it's
wrong
just our
with us?
Yeah, we're the one that's wrong.
We're the
These
one that's
are-
wrong. These are mammary glands.
They're mammary glands.
And
What's
you
the
feel
big deal?
awkward.
It's all cultural.
I feel awkward with you telling me this.
You feel
sorry.
awkward right
I
now.
wasn't even there.
Here you go, Nikki. You can
Nikki
ring the bell.
leaves. Nikki just leaves.
Nikki, if since the day you were born, we're going to do an experiment. We're going to have, since you were born, we're going to go back in time, and we're going to just tell you that no human being should see your ears ever. And then you'd look at pictures of ears online or something and be like, oh my God, that's what they look like. And
It's
then
so
one
true.
day you
Yeah.
walked out into the world with your ears exposed. You'd be like,
It'd be
oh
awful.
my God,
You feel so
they're
free.
looking at my ears.
I feel so free.
My ears were exposed.
Yeah, it's
That
all
would be a
just what-
scandal.
It's all just what you're fed.
It is.
Yeah,
totally.
it would
It's-
be.
It's a scam.
It
but
is.
we can all agree that 55-year-old man with the big beer belly on the beach in a short Speedo.
Shouldn't be wearing a
He
Speedo.
shouldn't be doing that.
No.
And they seem oblivious.
Yeah.
But he's happy.
I guess.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah, but why is he doing it?
I don't know.
What? We've all seen that guy.
But I feel like that's the thing too. Like wherever, like there's a lot of places in Europe where that is just the type of
That's all they wear.
men's swimsuit
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they wear. Like
Yeah.
That's
So it's our
they
ignorance
don't wear
again.
Yeah.
like surf shorts like they do.
Yeah, my husband
here.
stayed with a family in Germany, and he didn't have a swimsuit, and he had to borrow one, and he had to
And it
wear a
was
Speedo.
that. It was
That's what
that.
it was.
There is a picture that exists that I will find someday.
Now there are guys who wear the girls' volleyball shorts on the beach. I've noticed that's
Really?
more
Oh.
popular. Like when we've been on cruises, those like short
Short shorts?
They're the tight
The boy
short
cut?
shorts. Yeah,
Huh.
I've
That's
noticed more
weird.
of those. Maybe that's like they don't quite want to go Speedo.
the
But
men wear those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's my Catholic upbringing. I don't even like to see myself around my house alone wearing anything like that.
Yeah.
Like even in my underwear.
Yeah.
Like I quickly hide and put some clothes on.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
I mean, it's okay.
I don't even like to look at myself in the mirror naked.
It's okay.
It's okay?
It's
It's
whatever
okay.
you're comfortable
This
with.
is confession. Never mind out in the world in front of people. Okay, she hit the bell. Whose turn is it? Woo!
Is it my turn?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
What was the question?
Yeah.
Oh wait, were you? Was it? Oh
No,
no,
yeah,
yeah.
'cause
What
Joe
was the
picked it.
question?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Was
have
it
no
about
idea.
new beaches? I
No,
forget.
it was not.
How do we go
I don't
down
even
the
know
nude
what the
beach?
question was.
No.
Softball!
From softball
we
to
get to that?
Softball
Speedos.
to a guy in the beach in a Speedo. I don't know
I have
how that
no
happened.
idea how we got. Mike from Hanover Township.
Oh, he's
Another
a
one.
right. Yeah, he may
Yeah.
have to be
Frequent
banned.
flyer.
He may have to be banned.
No.
What are the statistical chances of NEPA being hit by a EF5 or higher tornado? Or
Oh, I don't
EF3?
have the actual stats, but yeah, the old myth is that we can have a tornado here. Of course, is incorrect.
Not true,
but
yeah.
it's a low frequency chance for any one person to be in a tornado's path in Pennsylvania.
Oh, this is cute. He says, I'm as curious about life as the rest of you. Listening from work. Thank you for what you do.
Listening,
Mike, I'm not going to say your last name because I don't want you to get in trouble.
We all know this. You sit in front of a computer with headphones on. Looks like you're working.
It's true.
Looks
Yeah,
like you're
no.
You're working
so.
hard.
Are you in a meeting?
And you I'm in the meeting. And if you furrow your brow, that's what George Costanza taught us in Seinfeld.
So what do you?
Furrow
you
your
like
brow.
this?
It looks. Yeah, if you go like this, it looks
Oh
like
yeah,
you're busy.
furrow the brow.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're really listening to Mr. Curiosity podcast. I love it, Mike.
Well, Mike's probably learning a lot from that. You
Yeah.
know, it's a good way to broaden your
telling you, when you go
horizons.
on walks or go long drives, you need podcasts. Hopefully, people enjoy this a little bit. You need something, man.
Well, we at least know Travis and Mike enjoy it.
No, we have thousands of
Thousands of
downloads.
people?
Thousands. Mindy's looking at her watch. It's almost time.
I
to
just
end
wanted to
this
make
thing.
sure we weren't going too long. I don't know. No, we're fine, I think.
Good morning, Joe. I heard you mention Ghost Town Amusement Park on the morning newscast. Has WNEP ever done a segment on this in the past? I remember anything about this place, but I'm not sure if I was ever there as a very young child. Now you and Rocky Glen. Is this the same place? It would be great if WNEP had an old segment on this place.
We've done segments
got
on
an
that.
answer.
And it's called Rocky Glen, Ghost Town and the Glen. It had two names.
Ghost Town. And we actually on WNEP Plus.
Oh, WDP Plus. Woo.
I could throw it back on there if anyone's interested. We actually have like a 2-hour documentary about Rocky Glen Park.
See?
And they do get
I
into Ghost
wanna
Town at
see
the
that.
Glen. Yeah.
I wanna
I'll
see
throw
that.
It, I'll throw it in the watch utility.
Okay.
For like the next week. And if you go to WNEP Plus, download it on your TV.
It's free.
It's free.
There's
I'll
a little
put it-
search bar there or what?
I'll put it in the watch utility. So right below, when you open it up, whatever streaming live or replays will be on there. But if you press down, there's like a little carousel of videos. I'll drop it in there, and it's all about Rocky Glen Park, and it's people reminiscing. There's old video and things like that.
Now, what's the
that's so
harm in
fun.
leaving it there forever?
I mean, it's limited space.
Oh, okay.
So when we have some new things, we want people
Gotcha.
to see the new stuff. And
We have
it
to
was
see
there
this
for a
top
while.
secret forecast.
Yeah, it was. Top secret forecast is there too. But I'll throw it in there for maybe the next
Let's sell
couple
the
weeks
app.
because this is coming out after we talk about this. But I'll throw it on there.
Let's sell
It's a
the
good
app
watch.
again, folks. On any TV that's a smart TV, you just type in WNEP, the app, you download it, and you watch WNEP all the time. Free.
Anytime you want.
Yeah.
No cable needed. No
Yeah.
antenna needed. You just watch on your smart TV.
And even easier, by
On
the
your
time
phone,
you
too.
get to WN, it's the first thing that pops up.
Just
Yeah.
search
Yeah, you don't even have to get that far
WNEP,
into it.
and there
Yeah.
you go, download
easy.
it. Streaming is the future.
It is.
And this is on there too on Fridays.
On
I put it
podcast.
on
This
Fridays at
podcast
2.
is on there. You get to see Mindy in her new gold-colored shirt, which he wore for the gold-colored theme. Although
It's
that's
not new, but it is gold.
is that a hybrid of orange? I don't even know if that's gold. Sean, is
Goldenrod?
that-
It's gold.
That's
Yeah.
goldenrod.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Maize?
Ochre.
No, it's not maize. Maize
Did
is
you
more
skip
yellow.
Sean?
Did I?
Probably, but I'll go next.
We're going to go in reverse order then.
Okay.
All right. What if you would do if you had to be stuck in your home, disabled? Derek from Mountaintop. What
Wow.
would you do if you had to be stuck in your home, disabled? Derek, please don't bring us down.
I tell ya.
Don't
Derek.
go negative because that's a lot of
That's-
people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does it have to be negative? And maybe that's
I
the point of the
get, how do you
question.
make
Would
the
you? How
most
would you
of it?
make
and
the
how
most out of-
disabled?
Well, that's a tricky question. Disabled enough where I guess I can't leave the house.
Can't leave the house.
But not disabled enough where I don't know.
I know what
I mean, I
Mindy
could
would do.
find-
Mindy would do bird puzzles.
I was gonna say puzzles.
I would get the WNEP app and just watch
Yeah,
it
I'd
all
watch a
day,
lot of Plus.
all
I'd
night.
Plus all day.
I think I would paint.
I was
find
just
a
gonna
way
say
to
you would
express
paint.
myself with
Yeah.
art.
Yeah.
Why don't you do some art for your friends, by the way?
Takes too much time. I don't have any
I
time.
feel like, maybe for my next birthday or something, I want a piece by Joe Snedeker.
I tell my wife because she says that.
Really?
She claims I'm a talented artist. Why don't you start doing stuff? I said it takes too long, and I get nervous and anxiety when I'm doing it.
Because you have
I just
you have
want it to
sit
end.
there.
I can't
Okay.
sit there and do
I
it.
So you
see.
couldn't start a painting and then come back to it days later.
No, I'd have to
You'd
finish
have to
it.
start to finish it one
Finish
sitting.
it,
Oh,
get it all
really?
done
Oh,
in
okay.
one sitting.
Yeah, that would take a long time.
But I could see doing something like that. How about you guys? What else? It's all.
Yeah.
Probably things like that.
Yeah,
I
what
don't know.
can-
Take
yeah.
up some hobbies.
Crochet,
Yeah.
knit.
Learn to knit. Do some things around the house.
I'd probably
I don't know how
pollute my
much-
brain on the internet. Who knows what kind of websites I'd go to? That would take me down a dark road.
Dark web.
Be looking at guys in Speedos.
Get a porch swing and
Oh, that's a good idea.
Can't swing.
well,
How do
yeah,
you know?
can.
Or not.
You're
or,
disabled.
Or
You can swing.
Go out to the front. Just make it my porch accessible so that I could go out on the porch because I wouldn't be able to just.
Sure, at least be
I'd
outside.
have to be
yeah.
outside or get a screened-in porch or something.
Yeah, I agree. You need something
So
to
I
get
could
outside.
look out at the outside.
And you'd play with your birds. You could do
Yes,
that.
I would play with my birds.
That would get old after 10 minutes.
No,
No.
she still plays with them. She's had them for years.
When I was a kid growing up in my grandmother's house at first, her neighbor, this is in the early 70s, was an old lady who would just sit in the window all day, every day, all day and night. I think she was disabled or she was just, things were weird back then. And
But she didn't have a lot of options. I mean, you didn't have.
She was the gossip queen of the neighborhood. She just sat and looked at people all day long out of her window.
She probably knew everything
She
about
did.
everybody.
As soon as my mother would go grocery shopping, I'd see the curtain peel back a little bit more, like, ooh, there's movement. It
Oh
was
my
like
gosh.
she was like a guard on the Great Wall of China, looking for anything that would happen. Maybe I'll go in that direction. Just look out the window all day.
There you
Everything
go.
about everybody.
There you go.
Spy. I'll be the town spy,
The town spy.
and I'd sit there in a gold Speedo.
This is from John.
Now, why do you say it like
It
that?
just says John. There's no. That's it. So John.
John.
Ugh, it's from John.
Oh, Johnny. Not John from Tunkhannock. Not Johnny. Just John.
This was not bad. Yeah, it doesn't. No. How do you guys feel about digital tipping? Right in front of the person to
Oh.
be tipped? I hate it. It should be when the person isn't around. And now electronic tipping is everywhere. Enough.
That's a good question, John.
John, how are you going to even start this one? My
awkward.
God. It's
It is awkward when it's like, they spin the thing around and it's
And then they can see what they tip you.
and it's all
what you tip
suggested
them.
first, so then you have
It's
to
suggested.
custom and then
Yeah.
you type in something
And then if you do
custom.
0, it's so awkward. Because obviously, if they're your server or they're doing you a service, but if it's just someone who, I'm trying to think of a good example.
I have a good example. I was at a concert buying a concert T-shirt, and that's what happened with, they had an iPad where you'd pay for the concert T-shirt, and they flipped it around, and it had a tip on there.
Yeah, they're just
What?
getting
I'm
you
I'm not
a
going to
t-shirt.
tip you. If
And
you
then
just,
you then
handing
you
me a shirt, right?
Yeah.
You didn't make
They're
the
just
shirt.
getting you a T-shirt. What are you tipping
Right.
them for?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not tipping.
I don't like when you hit 0 and it really loudly goes wah, wah, and lights flash.
I did it.
I've never
It's
done
really
that.
awkward.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, when you hit no tip, it
does
goes
not.
wah, wah, and then everyone in the
The
place
restaurant
goes,
lights flicker.
Sean, you're making that up.
I'm making that up.
No, but you're right. It's supposed to be an anonymous swan song.
Right.
I'm out of here. You were good. You were bad.
Yeah.
I don't need to know anything. When they're right in front of you, it's awkward.
Yeah.
And then one time I went to this place. I won't say where it was.
Uh-oh.
But the tip options were like 20%,
They started at
25,
20?
Yeah, yeah,
30%.
yeah.
I'm like, what?
What?
I know. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the presets are generally on the higher side.
I mean, I understand if it's like 15, 20, 25,
Right.
but starting at 20 and then going up to, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
thought that was a lot. So I usually tip 20% if the person is
Me
good.
too.
Yeah.
The thing I like is that it's done right in front of you. Do you guys feel awkward when you give your card, like your ATM card, to this person, then they disappear for 10 minutes?
That
I always
doesn't
think,
bother
well,
me.
they're going to copy the card, they're going to get my 3-code number, and they're going to pillage my
You
life.
always
This is
think
like
the
your
worst.
this is
This,
your
yes.
Airbnb
I am
issues
driven
all
by
over again.
fear my whole life.
See, I don't think that way. Maybe because I was a server and like I would be the
yeah,
one
you
taking
have
the
gr-
card, but I'd be in such a rush doing
Yeah.
that it would just be so quick. You just swipe it and not even look at
But
it.
all it takes is one dirtbag who wants to get all your information.
That did happen
that
to
is
me
true.
when I was parking in New York one time, in New York City.
See?
Yeah. They took my card, and for a long time they were gone. They came back, and later on I figured out that was where my card numbers got
See?
stolen.
That's scary.
See?
But it's only happened once in my life, and I'm 50.
That's why you trust the Airbnbs, and you're in some video in the dark web
Probably,
now in
yes,
China. I'm
yes.
telling
but
you.
I've also met really cool people and really had good experiences, and I don't know.
It's definitely not on WNEP Plus. though.
Oh,
That's true.
Mindy's
That's good.
hotel stay.
Not on WNP
Not on
Plus,
WNEP Plus.
but Top Secret Forecast.
Yeah, there's other great stuff.
and
Top
podcast.
Secret forecast and podcast. So you guys are okay with the? I say no. Let's do away with it.
In certain situations, I think it's okay, but not for a concert T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
In defense of the digital tipping, there are a lot of times where I just don't have cash or
Yeah.
at least
That's true.
an amount that I have tipped anyway, that it is kind of nice that I have the digital option, because I would have tipped. I didn't have the cash on me to tip, and then I still have an option to do what I was going to do. That's about the only time where I find it, useful.
And you don't have to do the math, which is nice.
Right.
Yeah, true
If
that.
I was going to tip and I'm like, oh no, I don't have any cash, but I can still tip, that's convenient. I do agree it's a little awkward, the right in front of the person.
It is. It's awkward, and it should be an anonymous swan
But that
song.
can go
Yeah.
down the route of the adding the percentage to your bill if you use a card,
Oh, yeah.
which I always thought just raise your prices like 3%.
It's all push here,
And then-
take there. It's all a
and then it's just
scam. It's
covered.
like buying a car. They take more off your trade-in. They give you more for your trade. It's all.
Yeah.
Is all of life a scam?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
This podcast itself, someone's making money off of it, not
yeah,
us.
and why aren't you paying my Tesla bill?
It's not us. It's a scam. Your ears
you.
are a scam.
yeah.
Listening to this, watching this,
Don't tell people that.
it's a scam. We're all being scammed. Like Bob Dylan said, who you serving, baby? We're all serving somebody.
That's right.
Do we have one more question?
Yeah, we have time.
Yeah. I have to go to teach at Marywood today, so I have to
Really?
meet Professor
So
Joe
who's doing
any
the last
second
question?
now.
Nikki?
Let's let Nikki do it.
Nikki is doing the last question because she was a waitress at
Yes.
Old Country. No,
At Cracker Barrel.
Barrel.
That's right.
my sister-in-law calls it cracker burial. Why is that?
We
Why
had
is
this
that?
question already.
Dump it then. Dump it and pick another one.
go
Yeah,
again.
pick another one.
Dump it. This has got to be good. It's got to be your anonymous swan song.
Pressure's
Although
on.
it's not so
Pressure's
anonymous.
on.
Here we go. Dun, 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 dun.
Now I want
Dun, dun,
Cracker
dun, dun,
Barrel cheesy hash browns.
Okay, what are the top 5 most used apps on your cell phones? In no particular order, here are mine: Spotify, Weather Underground, local news sites such as WNEP, Notes, and the Calculator. Let me say mine. I would say text messages.
Is that going to count as an app, Sean? I don't know. You're the digital
Yeah,
director.
it's an app.
Well, that's everyone's number one then.
Okay. The Notes app I use. I don't know, like top
Yeah, mine are boring.
It's hard.
Yeah, we are all boring with that.
Instagram,
Facebook.
Facebook.
Kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And a lot of that's because I have to be on it for work. It's
Yeah.
not like
There's
Honestly,
so
it
many.
shouldn't be called social media. It should be called work media.
yeah.
New York Times
right.
Games.
Email.
New York Times Games for me is probably up there. I don't know if that's something everybody has,
Yeah.
but there's some good free ones on there. Wordle.
Yeah, Wordle.
Okay.
Yeah,
All that
I've
kind
got
of stuff.
Wordle.
Yeah, New York
Email.
Times
That would
Games
probably
is a
round
good
it out
one.
for me. Email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have an opportunity to
Camera.
get the WNEP
Camera.
app?
Podcast app.
Podcast
WNEP
app,
That's
Yeah.
one
WNEP
I use
app.
a
That's the
lot.
one you need. See,
My
when it's out.
banking app.
Banking app. I'm
Banking
always
app.
checking that.
I thought it was interesting that person mentioned weather.
I know.
Oh,
Weather
yeah.
Underground.
And a lot
Hurts
of
me.
places
Yeah.
I
like-
took Mindy. I didn't want to bring that up.
And all those places like
Sorry.
fast food or like Dunkin', those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you get more rewards if you use the app.
I
And
see.
with
I
kids,
go against
tend to
that. I
use
should
kind
do
of
it,
stuff.
but
Does anyone have their home thermostat on their phone? That's one of my most
only
used
the
apps.
weather geeks.
Yeah, I have that stuff. Like
I'm going to raise the temperature on my wife right now. All right, I got an app for everyone to use, and then we're going to end.
All right.
If you go on it's not an app, but if you search on Google, Mindy's Vacation Verbo video, you will see.
You might see it.
real.
Now I'm going to have to go search that.
Not Mindy real, but just real in the sense that it's some real bad site that you're not sending people to.
Yeah.
You haven't vetted.
Yes, we
Right.
haven't vetted
Vacation
this.
Verbo has
Oh,
not been
dear.
vetted, so I don't know.
You will
Yeah.
see her sleeping on a dirty pillowcase, and who
Yeah.
knows what else you're going to see.
Yeah, could be crazy.
Because she trusts verbos, and I don't.
I do.
I'm fear-based.
No, I think it's you just got to try it.
I'm going to try. I did already. Keep
Yeah.
the questions coming. Brown bag at WNEP.com. You were searching something, Sean, there.
I'm
Must be-
searching Mindy. Vacation Verbo. It's not bad. It just comes up with a lot of Verbo options for like
Okay.
places around.
All right, good.
I'm telling you, you're on the dark web.
Probably. Aren't we all?
She's big in Japan. See you guys.
Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity. About